Hey, we're back in studio today, and did you know that you have to stop your body correctly if you want to actually produce speed? Today we're going to talk about stopping is actually helping you get faster.
What is happiness? Happiness is achievement. What's the father of achievement? Motivation. What's the mother? Encouragement. The fine golf swing is truly achievement. Man may lie, cheat, and steal for gain. But you will never gain the golf swing. To gain the golf swing, man must work. It's work without toil. For those of us who know and love it, golf is truly happiness.
Hey, welcome to the channel today. I had an interesting conversation with a student the other day who was saying, Todd, he goes, I don't understand the whole idea of stopping the body to produce speed. And here's where this evolved from. And it's just not really me saying, hey, we got to put the brakes on your body so that you can produce speed. It's a natural occurring function when you accelerate the body in a rotational fashion. I know it sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo, but it's based in science, and it's based in kinesiology, and it's based in what we call the kinematic sequence. The kinematic sequence is how the body actually functions and produces speed. So let me ask you a couple questions when we talk about the body so you understand this. How do you think that any rotational athlete produces speed? And the question comes from, well, their body, you have to get the body parts at some point moving quickly. So in other words, if I'm going to throw a ball, if I was going to take this ball and throw it. And by the way, all rotational athletes are the same. If you take a baseball player, a golfer, somebody who hits a baseball with a bat or throws a ball, or a tennis player, all these sports are rotational sports. In other words, the body is rotating so I can accelerate the arms. So the arms become the last part of the accelerated equation. So the question becomes, how do I make this hand and arm and this body part accelerate so I can then project this golf ball or project this golf club or project this bat? How can I do that with a rotational movement of the body? So what you find, and if you look at a kinematic sequence chart, what you find is that there's certain speeds that the body parts need to move at. For example, when I go in this backward motion, obviously this would be called rotational speed of the torso. This is rotational speed of the pelvis. So you would see these speeds pick up and then slow down. Notice they're going fast, and notice they stop, right? So in a backswing, I have speed in the backswing, and then the body parts stop. Is that correct? So obviously I'm not moving, and they have to move at some speed going back. We call that negative. That's a negative speed because going towards the target is positive, going away from the target is negative. So look what just happened in that motion. In the backswing, I'm accelerating, and then I slow down, right? So there's acceleration, and then there's stopping. Well, there's stopping that happened, right? I had to stop back here. Then what happens is I stop. When I transition, I change direction. So I went this way. Now I got to go this way. So I got to swing the club this direction. So now what I do is I stop. So I move, accelerate this way. I stop this part of my body so that this can continue to accelerate. And where people get confused in this is they think, well, the pelvis is this thing that just accelerates like this. And that's not true. The pelvis is like if you grabbed something like just grab like a board or grab your computer laptop and hold one side steady and move the other side. You see that this side can stay still while this side accelerates. So what happens is if I stop this side of my pelvis can accelerate. See that can go faster. Well, that allows this to go faster. So you'll notice that the golf swing, and this is what the kinematic sequence is all about, is there are certain parts that are accelerating and stopping so that other parts or subsequent parts can accelerate further. So let's take that into the golf swing so you understand it. So most of the time when you want to accelerate the golf club, you have to have some components that are very important to producing speed. The first component is, are you in the correct positions to produce speed? Now, those of you that want to hit the ball longer and straighter, this is where a lot of you have problems, is you're out of position. In other words, you don't have the correct angles or the correct separation of your body or the correct position of your body. You haven't produced the proper rotations to produce speed. So the first thing I would check with you is, are you in position at all to produce speed? I'll give you an example of that. If you take the club back and notice how my wrists and my trail arm have folded, and this club now has an angle to it. And notice when I change directions and accelerate, this club can lag back, and then at the last minute here, I can accelerate the club. So are your hands and wrists allowing the club to then generate this angle to produce speed? That's a good question, and you should check that, because that would be the first thing I would check if you're saying, hey, I'm swinging pretty good, but I can't produce speed. I'm like, let's check your grip and check your angles. How are you able to produce speed? Why are you not producing speed? The second thing is, to producing speed, is now that I have the correct positions and angles, and I stop the body, I've got to be able to position this body in a way, and I start with lower body, because here's the way kinematic sequence works in a golf swing. It starts, lower body stops, then the upper body can go. The upper body then has to stop in a way, I'll explain that. So the arms can go, and then the arms allow the club to go. So it goes pelvis, torso, arms, hands, club. We have to do in that proper sequence. That's how acceleration occurs, because the fastest thing you want is what? The club, hands, and then club. So let's go through that. So here's the sequence of a golf swing, and we'll back this out into how the body's stopping. So we're at the top of the swing in the proper position. We've stabilized into the lead knee. So here's that. Now the pelvis goes first. That's that stabilization. Pelvis goes first. Torso's going second. Look at the arms are coming third, and then the club, the hands and club, fourth and fifth. So it's pelvis, torso, arms, hands, and look at that club then at the last minute comes in there and strikes the ball. So you'll see how this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence is occurring. Now, let's talk about how this sequence even happens, because here's what I see in people. If you're one of those people that are kind of new to golf, and you see this, I'll go to Top Golf and I'll watch people play all the time and try to hit golf balls. And these are beginning golfers who don't really understand. They haven't trained themselves into understanding a golf swing, so they don't have any experience hitting golf balls. And what you see is this, and you guys have all seen this with golfers. Everything's moving at the same pace. Like they're moving all this motion and all this motion, and nothing's really accelerating. Everything's moving. You got lots of movement. Feet are lifting up. Body's lifting up, lots of things are moving, but there's no real acceleration to what you want is that golf club, and there's no consistency to the bottom of the swing. So what's the first stabilizing factor in a golf swing? It's what's attached to the ground, right? The feet. The feet are on the ground, so if you start moving your feet up and down, you're not going to have any stability in your ankles and then your knees. So the first thing you do is you position your feet correctly. The second thing you do from a correct address position is now we have to hit this proper position in the backswing. So we're stable against this trail leg. So this had to stop. The pelvis stops as the torso keeps going, and then the arms and hands get to the top. Now I'm in a leverage position. Now when I transition, so I go into that lead knee, this is where you start seeing acceleration because we're going into the downswing. When I stop this lead knee, notice my foot position is the correct foot position allows me to stop the knee. I'm actually stopping this side of my body first. So I'm stopping the knee and the hip. Well, I didn't stop this hip. So now this can accelerate and this can accelerate, but this had to slow down. So this is slowing down so that this part of my body can accelerate. Now, here's what happens. Because of this position, side bend, and you can experiment with this. If this is stopped and I'm side bent, I'm limited. See how my body, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I can't really move too much. Well, but you can move, and what moves is the hands and the arms. There is actually the sequence. So notice, position became primary because the position of my legs stopped this, so I could accelerate this. The position of my side bend stopped this, so I could accelerate this. And you'll notice that as I go through that, the positions of your body allow you to stop certain sides of the body so the other side can accelerate. And it's all because of the position of the feet, the positioning of the knee, the positioning of my side bend, and then I can accelerate the arms. Because the goal here is to accelerate the arms the hands, and the club. So let's go through this sequence one more time so you understand it. And this is where kind of the single plane swing comes in. If any of you are interested in learning this, it all starts with learning the positions correctly. And so you simply learn the positions of the swing, starting at the address and the grip, and then you go into a leverage position, make sure you're stable. Then you stabilize the body coming down. Notice how when I stabilize, I'm not accelerating yet. I'm stable. Now I'm accelerating pelvis, then torso, and then at the last second, I can accelerate the hands. And that's exactly how you should accelerate a golf club, because it's going in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence. So again, how you stop the body is how it accelerates. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.